All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to your Tuesday AM. And welcome back to what should hopefully be an interesting trading day. Yesterday was maybe the most dramatic inside bar I have ever seen here across the board. Pretty wild day, just from that context. Kind of a boring session, right? All things considered, at least from my perspective. And yeah, a little bit of a tough one to basically just trade that grind up consolidation. Way to go sometimes. Not every strategy is going to have an edge for every scenario, and that's definitely one that for sure had some maybe blinders on. But really interesting market conditions here. Definitely a good indication of volatility being back in business. If these are the daily ranges that we're getting, we have a VIX that has an implied reading of 1.1%, and we're getting 3% of daily range. Then we like need to like be really focused and position ourselves that we can take advantage of that volatility, right? We effectively haven't had those types of ranges or this type of window of opportunity, right, for the last maybe 45 days or so. And I think this could potentially be an opportunity for us to press a little bit, and hopefully there's some good opportunities to make some money. When you start to see larger ranges like this, right, you can start to like have an expectation of potentially getting a bit more follow through, right, on some of our trades. So obviously yesterday, maybe not the perfect example as we were going what appeared to be counter trend, but when you do get the direction correct here, and you do get that follow through, maybe we could expect 20, 30, 50 more points, right, type thing on some of these moves, and would anticipate that they do occur just a little bit faster. So that's what we're expecting here, right? We want to see that price action is moving with a level of enthusiasm and seriousness, I guess. And then once we establish that momentum, we can look to take advantage of it and hopefully, be well positioned to catch those moves. The other element of that, right, is if a trade sets up, it'll give us another opportunity if we miss our initial entry, especially if those moves continue to be a little bit more extended. And so we don't necessarily need to be in a rush to make any decisions. We just need to be very focused on making the best one possible. So that's really the objective here this Tuesday morning. Feeling pretty sharp, feeling pretty refreshed and recharged, ready to go for sure. And hopefully, we can take advantage of whatever momentum is available to us here today, and we can have ourselves just a really fun session. Base expectations, we're going to be waiting for just the PMI, right? We've got a very limited reaction here in the overnight market during the pre-market session. So I do think it will be a little bit of a slower start to the AM. I've got no problems with that. Yesterday did feel like the opening 30 minutes, like time was frozen. So hopefully with data dropping at 9:45 and then data dropping at 10 a.m., we do get a little bit more enthusiasm and we can kind of establish that narrative that we're looking for here today. I also think on a positive note, this morning, right, because it's an inside bar from a pre-market perspective, we kind of return to being able to have setups in both directions here, right? We could look for a breakout back up towards all-time highs. We could look for a rejection back down towards sort of the Friday lows, right? And realistically, that would be a fantastic range for us to target. And we're effectively in the middle of that implied range, right? So if this is sort of the box that we're potentially now, quote unquote, range bound in, that's a lot of range. And we're, in pretty good space here to take advantage of whatever that enthusiasm is. How's everyone feeling this morning? Starting here is going to be 63.80. And then, I mean, 6,400 is definitely going to be a realistic target. And then I'd say maybe we go up to like 420. That's sort of the next point of contact there on that trend line, which I think would be a reasonable stopping point. Good team. Love to hear that. So I think, yeah, towards that channel trend line makes a little bit of sense. So we'll call that 63.90, 6,400, 64.10, 64.20. Nice. We'll call that trend line. And then I don't know if it's worth it to go all the way to 470. It's not that far. Fine. I don't think there's any point being lazy here right now. Cool. All right. And then to the downside here, we're targeting a move down towards like 62.40 eventually. Now that's like so far away, right? 120 points on ES. I mean, it obviously could happen. We've seen it do it recently. But I would be shocked. So I would say my starting target here may be 63.50. And then we'll go 62.90. All right, so again, I don't think we're going to go all the way down to 6,200. I'm going to stop her at 62.40, right, which is the lower end of this now implied range. And yeah, I mean, if we get a move down towards that level here today, team, I think we're all doing celebratory breakfasts. So let's see what the market has in store for us. And yeah, hopefully we can see a little bit of that volatility. All right, so bit of a just by the hair of its chinny chin chin, right? NQ just poked up above. So we are going to be calling this a 1 out of 3. I mean, I'm going to call this a 1.5 because I've seen this both be a red pre-market here and a green pre-market. Realistically, it won't change much. Still a without volume narrative. So we'd like to see some sort of level of enthusiasm return here this morning if we are going to be aggressive. And again, we're looking for the range here, right, between sort of these big red bars. So that's going to be 23,850. So I'll say 23,500, 23,600, 23,700, 23,800. And then we'll just say 23,900, which is ATH. Cool. And then to the downside here, I mean, 23.3 should be it, but that's going to get taken care of by the indicator. So we'll call that 23.2, 23.1, 23, just on the dot, 22.9. And then our low point here is 22.7. Call that 22.6 just to keep the looking kind of balanced here. That's plenty of space, maybe a little bit less implied room here, right, on NQ versus ES. But again, if I'm still getting a move even 100 points, I'm absolutely buzzing here this morning, right? So hopefully we see a good amount of volatility. We see good trending PA establish itself here this morning, and we're just going to call this the trend line. And yeah, we can go from there. All right, CL, red candle, decreasing volume, gap down. We're going to call this a 2 out of 3 to the downside without volume. This kind of sets up potentially as like a little bit of a mean reversion type scenario. We're at the lows of the implied range, right, that we've been in here in crude. So we're in kind of like the lower third of that spot. If I look and basically say draw out a box, right? And okay, green's kind of a happy coincidence here, but I've seen more wicks inside that box and I've seen kind of full body candles. So probably wouldn't be unexpected, right, to see a reversal off of that area. And then we'll call it a breakout towards, I mean, yesterday's or pre-market high, sorry. So 66.50 is kind of our starting point here. And then all the way up towards maybe 67.50 and then like 69.50. So that's plenty of room. And then to the downside here, we basically, I mean, I still would play it, but do need to be a little bit cautious here again. The 5% handle is going to be our limiting factor here, which is going to be about towards 63. So we're looking at a move from 65 to 63. Again, would probably prefer the bullish scenario here on CL. That seems to be a little bit of an easier path of resistance. But let's see if that narrative basically gets confirmed here pre-market. Or sorry, once market's open. Okay, inside bar on Apple. Saw a crazy statistic there yesterday. And it's basically now that Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft are 21% of the S&P 500. Which is nuts. And Microsoft 2 out of 3 without volume. Amazon, pretty big selling pressure here. Earnings and Prime Day crushed it. Kind of it seems like that's the theme that happens pretty consistently. 1 for 3 here to the downside. Nvidia, green candle, decreasing volume, gap down, 1 for 3 to the upside. AMD, I think, has earnings today. And we're green candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 2 out of 3 without volume going into earnings. And sometimes I miss trading options. Meta, green candle, decreasing volume, gap down. 1 for 3 here again. Yeah, a lot of earnings. It's kind of like the second half of the window. They're big names for sure, but they're not a huge impact on the index. Like Palantir's kind of their same size, and Palantir's earnings aren't moving anything here this morning. Actually, arguably Palantir's larger. Green candle, decreasing volume, gap down on Google. For 3. And then, like we said, VIX hanging out 17.49. So implied volatility of just a little bit more than 1%. Rough calculation there. It's not perfect, but rough calculation is take the VIX divided by 16, and that kind of gives you an implied daily range. So today, right, we're looking at an implied range of a little bit more than 1%. We're not anywhere near that here this morning. So hopefully we do get a pretty nice level of enthusiasm and then can go from there. Excuse me. All right, so let's have ourselves a heck of a day here, team. Hey, welcome to the team, Rich. Great to see you in here. Looking forward to our first call here in a couple hours. All right, so that's market open. I mean, first thing I'm just going to keep an eye out here for is that pattern I'm testing. Remember, guys, pattern's really basic, right? It's just a 2 candle setup. So first candle establishes the opening range. Set establishes weird there. The second candle needs to be a clean breakout. If it's a fake out first and then a breakout to another direction, not a clean breakout. If it's move lower but then closes inside the range, not a breakout. So it needs to just be a really clean and textbook move. And that's all we're looking for. Decent amount of selling here to start. Pretty good size range, right? We're already bigger than what we saw there yesterday from an opening range perspective. Oh, 30 seconds in, you know, that volatility for sure looking pretty strong. So this candle now would need to close, you know, under 304, ideally well under. Yeah, not much going on here yet. Decent ranges though. Good volatility to open. A lot of selling pressure on the first 1 min candle, and just not sustaining. Oh, oh my gosh! I almost spilled my coffee. That would have been a disaster. Palantir is a freak. Kind of regret selling some at 155. Okay, so not a clean breakout there on the first opportunity, right? So pattern not in play. I don't know, kind of now feeling like it only happened for like a week. I saw it maybe just too late. Away she goes. All right, so still being patient here. Not much to go off from that first 3 minutes. And then again, we've got data dropping at 9:45, and then we've got data dropping at 10 a.m. So from my perspective, right, I'm probably not placing a trade here in the first 30 minutes of the session regardless. So it's fine seeing things kind of settle in, find their groove a little bit, right, to establish some of that momentum. But for me, it's still gonna be worth basically letting those narratives get out of the way. It'll give us a couple hints as well, right? If we effectively get like a non-reaction to that data, where we don't get like any catalyst, or we don't see any momentum, or we don't see any like enthusiasm to those data releases, it's not then that would really be not indicative of it being like a really rangy or volatile session. So with combines, do you recommend rushing it in case we don't pass in under a month to avoid getting rebuild? Um, I think it depends on the situation, right, that you're in with your accounts. So like if you're willing to be rebuild, or you're willing to take a second charge, or you were gonna like be willing to reset anyway, then it's maybe a slightly different situation. If you're like maybe 60% past and you don't want to rebuild, honestly, I would just say suck it up and just keep trading normally. If you're like at 1K in profit and you're pretty much out like scratch, then maybe there's a little bit of expected value in doing it. But it'll depend on the rules, right, of the prop firm that you're trading with. So like if you do it with Top Step and they have that consistency rule in the evaluation stage, then there's no value then to basically being a little bit more aggressive. If they don't have those restrictions, then it's fine. But in general, I would not be trying to encourage bad habits, because then you get a good reward for passing your account, going 15 contracts on a random trade, all of a sudden you're going to be like, well, I'll just do that to get to my first payout, or I'll do this, or I'll do that, and then it kind of degrades the ability to be disciplined. So yeah, I would think about it very carefully. Um, but there would be expected positive value in doing it if your account balance was at a certain, like under a certain threshold. Yeah. 100%, Greg. Yeah. Like I've said it before, but the most dangerous trade is the trade that you broke your rules and made money on. Because you just get stuck in this like yeah, feedback loop of doing bad things is profitable, and every now and then hitting on 17 gets you 21, but you do that long enough and you're gonna bust your account. So that's the reality. Like it'll work just long enough to make you feel like, oh, that didn't need to be a rule in the first place, and then it just absolutely hits you like a train. Like it's just one of those things. It works until it blows up in your face. In general, like I think that there are a lot of ways to gamify these prop firms, but the best way to do it, or I think the most efficient technique to do it, is to just get a ton of them, and not to necessarily trying to gamify them as fast as possible, but to more try to, yeah, optimize for the largest number, not the first number. Yeah, I think every trader has, Tony. I think every trader has. The problem with trading though is a lot of people are willing to basically get back on those same tracks and basically just like do the exact same thing all over again. And the hard part is taking a different path sometimes. Yeah, we're trying to get some breakouts here, maybe not supported by enough volume, creeping up towards that 945 time handle as well. So we'd be watching for that. But I don't think I'm going to get volume confirmation here, so I'm not particularly in a rush. I wouldn't say that that's outlier volume, and it's not increasing either. So I have an active setup, but that setup is failing from a confirmation perspective here this morning, right? So the setup is a breakout through the opening range. The confirmation is on the candle close outside of the range when paired with a strong candle shape and increasing and outlier volume. We have a strong candle shape, but we don't have increasing volume and we don't have outlier volume. So from my perspective, right, that's a setup that has failed on confirmation. What I can do here now, right, is pass on that burden to a larger time frame. But if I'm looking at this on the 5 min, we're now likely to fail on the same criteria unless like a miracle happens here in the last 13 seconds. Again, I don't think that that's going to be the case. On NQ, right, same thing. It's a good breakout here, but it's on decreasing volume. The caveat here this time is it's outlier volume, but outlier and decreasing still isn't the standard that we require. And then CL here, maybe the best looking of the bunch. The 5 min kind of looks a bit of a disaster. So again, be a little bit patient here. I don't have very, I would say I have any reasons, to be honest, to be very aggressive. Still going into that 945 data. Nothing here has told me that I need to do something different. And I still feel like my caution is vindicated. Or justified, maybe is the better term. It kind of feels a little bit like the calm before the storm. I don't think we've missed out on anything here yet. That CL on the 3-min maybe, but man, not good enough. Not good enough. Don't think I need to justify more than that. You know, in the daily time frame, still looks very much like just pure indecision. Hey, James, I'm not missing out on too much here yet this AM. Been a very slow open. We've got data dropping in 3 minutes and then data dropping 15 minutes after that. So kind of expecting things to be a little bit casual until then. And hopefully, then hopefully something smooth. Again, don't really feel like I've missed out on anything here yet. CL for sure would have stopped me out on the 3-min now prior to making a breakout. I don't feel like I've screwed anything up here. Honestly, boring open. Like I would say that this is probably more the open that I expected yesterday. Now as it breaks out, but it's kind of maybe more the pace that I expected yesterday versus today. We almost got like the breakout inside consolidation. Now we're getting the consolidation after the breakout. Almost like a little bit of a reverse. Or it's like the opposite of what you'd expect, maybe is the better phrase. Not a huge reaction to the PMI data. Like a little bit of a rally. Nothing insane. Yeah, so a little bit better. Okay, better volume there on NQ. Not the time to be slow here, computer. Gives us 13 minutes here to get some follow through. It's a little bit of time. 466, you're looking at 80 points, give or take. I mean, I would be interested in this. I think I have to be. Okay, so immediately pops its little head up and over. So we're looking at the aggressive entry technique. And then we're looking for something around that 390 with a stop loss around 385. Now that's a pretty tight range. It does give me some good potential position sizing wise. So let's see if this thing finds some support here. Hey guys, I am in 391.25, 391.25. And I have 3 contracts here. This thing's got to push a little bit better. Well, I think I just got stopped out. Yeah, I did. For minus 495. I mean, I think I answered that question, Eric. I was interested in the setup. I took it. Basically, the rule here, right, is can I get out of this trade or can I expect to get a move within 1 minute, right, of the data dropping? So I had 13 minutes on that trade, which was more than enough time. So it's basically, okay, did I think I could get a reasonable size move in 13 minutes? Yes. And so that's all it is. So I have a correction on my PNL. It was 395, not 495. Pretty aggressive rejection. You kind of have the same setup here, except this would be the pullback technique here on the 5. The reason I'm willing to look at this here just in the short term is it's had a pretty good bounce off of the previous high of day. That for sure is a good way to act as support, or like a good benchmark to act as support. I would like to watch this. Now it's a little bit tighter for sure. You'd have, maybe 6 minutes in this trade. That's very interesting. Creeping up pretty close here now. Kind of liked that first trade though, all things considered. I liked how tight the risk was. It did make it very appealing. I'm gonna have to probably watch it back, but maybe in hindsight, the pullback and or the pullback enthusiasm into the range is maybe a little bit too fast. Like if I'm thinking out loud, I'm pretty sure I thought I clipped it when I saw like 387. So I'm turning a really tight stop loss even to a tighter one. It was just complicate things just a little bit. Yeah, again, this could potentially set up. Here's the aggressive. Short time though, I got 4 or 5 minutes in this trade. Which I'm not sure if it's worth it. Looking at 380, it's pretty much the exact same. I mean, I'm gonna wait this thing out. It's hesitating just a little bit too much. I'm just gonna run out of time. So now I just gotta wait the 5 minutes, unfortunately. Well, I'm gonna go make myself a quick cup of coffee here, guys. I just felt my coffee. Be back in a second. Coffee went down the wrong pipe there. All right, so 50 seconds. All right, so we wait. We're still potentially in setup here on this NQ5 min, right? It's a double inside bar. So very much could still be in play here. And nope. That was instant. Pretty happy we didn't deal with that bullshit. That would have sucked. It moved so fast, even trading view panicked. Kind of interesting we couldn't crack the lows there. And CL also cracking a little bit here. Kind of a consensus dump across the board. Big volume there. Okay, so let's quick sanity check here. So CL for sure the best of the bunch. Let's see. That's a little bit too aggressive. Now it's out pretty much outside of my possible entry zone. Right on the cusp. If this thing pulls back much more, I'll have to pass on the burden of confirmation. Like if it goes to like 41 or 42, it's kaputs. So otherwise, I just won't be able to justify risk reward here. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That sucks. So I'm going to have to wait for this on the 5. Pretty much same story here now across the board. See if some of these stories can get consistent. A decent rejection there. 5 min. Hey, CL didn't really want to separate away from that 40, so we're kind of stuck in that no man's land. ES maybe the best of the breakout bunches here to the downside, the cleanest of them at least. Again, we might struggle a little bit here from a risk reward perspective, right on the cusp. Okay, so we're looking at a 354 stop loss here on CO with approximately 3 points of risk, so $150 a contract. All right, so you're looking at 3 total. It'd be a short, right? Stop loss 354. And you're looking for an entry above that green line, which I'm not sure we're going to get. Yeah, we must be thinking about each other here today a little bit. We're on the same wave page, nonstop. Okay, so let's watch here. That feels like it's moving just a little bit too fast. A little bit. Maybe it gives us the fake out opportunity. On NQ, it could be giving me the pullback, which might be appealing in these conditions. Just thinking out loud. 375. So you need a 350 or better. That would give it 1 contract. I'd probably be looking around there. That's like 360, so 15 points of risk, give or take, looking for a discount relative to that. Yes, I don't like too much. That looks a little bit more like a reversal or a fake out than anything else. This doesn't make me feel super enthusiastic. Root on the 5, just not a great close. Need to see some of these things tighten up just a little bit here. Can't really justify doing this. Like I could from a risk reward perspective, but 37 points of risk here is crazy. I couldn't take that much on the aggressive technique. So yeah, do need these to tighten up just a little bit. Hmm. A little bit of an indecisive close there on the end. A little bit, James. A little bit. And this for me would still be the most appealing, but the thing that I'm I guess like balancing maybe is the right term. Is should stop loss be there? Should stop loss just be at high a day? There's a little part of me that wants to go high a day as a stop loss. Problem with that technique, right, would be your entry zone would then start above your confirmation candle. Maybe a little bit spooky. Yeah, I think it's kind of faked out a little bit. Could be back in business for some of these aggressive breakdowns. 315 to 335, maybe 340, maybe. If I could do something like this, that would be appealing-ish. Ooh. I don't think it was going to be a reversal to the upside there for a moment. Didn't quite behave that way. All right, I'm going to focus on NQ, True Love. So we'll call it a 332 stop loss. And I'm looking for a reasonably gentle pullback here above that like 315 area. Watching the pullback here, right? Two things I'm looking for. Looking for my max risk to be less than 500 bucks, and I'm looking just for the pullback to be gentle. Really, really gentle. I'm looking at two contracts here. So that's why I'm watching that $500, right? I want to make sure that my risk is sized to be less than that and to be appropriate. It's a little bit bouncy here though, like where it's not the super confident feeling spot. Yeah, that was a great rejection. Oh, that might have been the entry right there. Let's see if we can get a pullback. Like it gave us that pullback, huge rejection, and then just didn't pull back again, which is where I would have wanted my entry. So it's maybe a little bit unlucky. Let's see if we can be patient here. Yeah, and that happened around 322. That's kind of what I'm watching for here now, right? I want to see price pull back into that give or take area and see if I can get the same reaction. If I get the same reaction, that's showtime. This 5-minute candle is going to close in a second here as well. Yeah, I could maybe still look at this in this context. Like, I think I would still prefer to play it this way. Now just using the pullback technique, right, instead of the aggressive. So this is starting to become interesting here. Come on. All right, guys, I am in 321 on the dot, 321 on the dot, 2 contracts. 321 short, 2 contracts. Oh, I hate that pullback. Hate that pullback. Sorry, I just need to manage this for a second. See if it can survive. That was a very big rejection off of 300-ish. Feels a little bit like a fake out. It feels a little bit like a fake out to me. It was almost like the perfect reaction post entry, and it makes that lower low, and now it's been a stubborn prick. Okay, so let's see if this thing can crack here. We don't want to see it failing again. If it fails again, I'm getting out. There it goes. Come on, get under 300 now, and it's got a flush under 3. Now we want to see an aggressive and violent move, right? Aggressive and violent to the downside. I wouldn't say that that was it yet. See if we can try again. Hey, same entry as me, Kiki. Fantastic. Anyone else in this here with me? Let's go, team. Love it. Good job. Hey, great entry. 322. Let's go. All right, guys. Watch. We're in great shape here. I want to see this thing keep flushing here, right? I don't really want to see this thing pull back towards 300 again. I want to see this thing keep flushing pretty aggressively. Yeah, I don't like that 300 pullback. I'm very paranoid of the fake outs, maybe too paranoid. Come on, flush. Let's see if it's got the legs here. I would say a close, like, yeah, if we close above 300, that probably needs to be my signal to get out. So that pullback again kind of feels like shit. And the objective here, not to make a panic decision. We're looking to judge this, right, based on when this candle closes, right? So we're going to be looking to make our decision on what our next move is at the candle close. So don't overcorrect or panic here yet, right? We still got, 30 seconds of information that we need to gather. Nice work, Mikey. Okay, so we're watching this close here, right? We want this under 300. Not bad, not bad. A little bit maybe of a teaser element to this candle. It's kind of a rejection, but it didn't hold lower lows. So let's see if we can get that next leg here to flush through those 290s. And then we should be in great shape. Let's see how it goes. Come on. We want to see the aggressive flush. I would say that the aggressive or like the faster moves have kind of been on the fake out, which is, I think, added to the like paranoia maybe of this position. But I'll be honest, team, I feel really sharp here still in this trade. Still really good about our thesis. I don't have too many concerns yet. Now we're trying to see if this thing can flush. Okay, now this is starting to move maybe a little bit faster than I expect. So next decent flush, I might consider to get out because that was a very easy 10 points. Maybe a little bit too easy. So starting to be worried about potential capitulation. All right, so next, like decent flush here, guys. I'm going to get out, okay? That's the plan for myself. Is it starting to act frothy? For me, is generally not something I want to be in. So watching closely here, still trying to find my exit. Would love to get a 70 in that number. Maybe here's our chance. Watch, watch, watch. Come on, one more flush here, baby. You got this, NQ. You got this. I believe in you. Doesn't want to give me more separation under that 80 handle. That's crushing me. Nice work, Kiki. Let's go. Still no panic here. Still no panic. Hey, watching closely here, team. Watching closely. This is a flirt. Fuck. Nice work, Patrick. Like, nice work, Kiki. Good job, team. All right, so here's our 279 attempt again. Come on. Come on. Oh, man, the way that this thing is consolidating at this number, I feel like we might get another 10-point flush. I got to be a little bit careful with that Hopi I'm feeling, maybe. It gives me 10 points in the other direction. Come on. Keeps rejecting really, really well, but then it gets stuck at 280. Give me a flush here. Okay, now watch for like a really fast move, guys. We're going to look to get out on that big flush. This is pretty much our exact reaction we want here. Come on, go, 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 go. All right, I have closed 276.75. Oh, 2 seconds too early. Devastating. 2 seconds too early. But I will take that. Great trade, guys. 1770 on that play. 1770. And just 2 seconds. Oh, that's devastating. Oh, what a life. And maybe didn't have a reason to get out there, but I'll take the win, guys. That was an awesome trade. Let's go, Eric. Nice work. Boy, Brent. Good job. Yeah, of course, Eric. My job, man. I love doing this. No problem. I had fun on that trade too. Hey, 50 points is great. So awesome work, team. That was fun. Who wants to guess the sleep score here today? I was trying to keep this a secret until the day was over. But who can guess the sleep score? Today was 100. Today was 100. I'm feeling sharp. If whatever the score is like you gotta take the win for what it is. Let me see if I can put it in here. Yeah, that was awesome. That was so much fun. Like any day where you get, and honestly, guys, what a we nailed that plan, I think, right? Looking back on now this little pullback here, we nailed that plan. That was perfect. So we maybe didn't quite bottom ticket. We got within, we'll say 15 points of it, but 15 points of the low, that's an awesome exit. I didn't really leave any money on the table there. That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's 10:30 and we've made more money than most people make in a week. Hell yeah, James. Hell yeah. Honestly, I think I said like I said, I've been feeling myself here a little bit this morning because like I said, I saw that sleep score. Like, okay, I know good things are coming. It's probably a dangerous dangerous precedent to set for myself. Um But I think I said, like, kind of in the prep here today, that I think today's going to be a day where we all get celebratory breakfasts. I think we nailed it, team. And just I want to stress this to everybody, right? You have yourself a green day here right now. You had yourself a nice green trade. You made a lot of money on that play. Walk away, right? Don't now trade for the rest of the afternoon or the rest of the morning and like try to make all your money or to like try to double it or to do whatever. It's not worth it, right? The ability to compound your green days and turn them into green weeks is how you create that freedom. You're not going to feel any better about your trading day going from being up 1500 or up 1300 and going to like 2000 bucks. You're going to feel a lot worse if you turn that 1300 bucks or that 500 bucks into nothing. So the risk reward ratio you have here operationally is not worth like creating problems for yourself here to a certain extent. Walk away, enjoy your green day, optimize for that freedom. And at the end of when markets closed, right, go study, okay, what did I miss? What could I have done better? What could I do? Whatever. But the work in trading isn't the trading part. That's like the celebration. That's the fun part. The work in trading is all the stuff we do to make our job easier and to avoid like making silly and stupid mistakes. Didn't have to make a silly, stupid mistake here today, right? We can walk away. We can be happy with it. You know, like you don't need to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? For lack of a better term. So focus on the variables you can control. Get confident and addicted to compounding green days. And that for me is like the most important thing you can possibly do. Let's go. 5 evals passed, 5 more to go. That's where you turn these green days into monster green days. And it's not by making more decisions, right? It's by creating more asymmetric upside for yourself. So fantastic. Love that. I think one of the hardest things to get comfortable with in trading is that being a trader, you get rewarded for a lot of things that you wouldn't get rewarded for at any other job, right? Like if you have a traditional 9 to 5 and you walk away at like 10:30 in the morning, you're getting fired. If you're trading and you're walking away at 10:30 in the morning, they're like, damn, this guy crushed it or this girl crushed it. And hell yeah, like I wish I was going for lunch with them, right? So it's a little bit of a it's like a different dynamic, right? Time in market or time in trade doesn't correlate with extra success, right? So don't trick yourself into thinking that that's going to be the solution. I also honestly wouldn't care if NQ went to 0 here at this point either, right? Like I made my trade, I made a decision, I'm an adult. I can live with the consequences of my decisions. I don't need to feel regret or pain or FOMO. I can just use it as a lesson and as a studying point, right? Yeah, and 100%. Like 600 bucks away is an awesome place to be and means you're one good decision away from being profitable. Don't make like one shitty decision and now be 3 good decisions away from passing that. Make it easy for yourself. And what I will say, guys, you're going to feel a lot more confident and you're going to feel a lot better about your trading when you're stacking up those big wins, right? There's like a lagging confidence that gets created with that. right? Where all of a sudden, you know, in a week's time, you remember, oh yeah, last week, like I walked away big green day. It was actually my biggest day of the week. And then you stack up a few of those in a row, and all of a sudden, you're almost like looking for excuses to not place more trades. It's a really fun place to be. Hey, congratulations, Trisha. You passed your combine. Fantastic work. And like, if I'm being objective here, team, right? I realistically would have closed my trade here, maybe the same spot, give or take, right? So I closed 268.75, I think. And this candle here at 1027, this would have been my candle to get out, right? This would have been my technical reason to have gone out of this trade. So maybe I would have closed there as the P&L was increasing, right, a little bit lower. But closing once that move happens a little bit faster than you expect is your reason to get out. Now, the I guess the second leg I could do here, right, is play this little breakout here. It's an increasing volume move, yada yada yada. But I'm not going to. I'm happy with my trading day. I'm not willing to take on any more risk. Had like a little bit of a victory lap, right? And I'm thinking about eggs Benny, way too much hollandaise sauce, and probably a double order of breakfast potatoes. So I'm not interested in risking any more capital. I'm not interested in risking that mental capital more so than anything. And like eggs Benny is delicious, but it's not good if you're hate eating it. And I really don't want to be doing that, right? Well, yeah, I mean, Patrick, it'll depend, right? For sure. You'll need like a few more days like this. The other element, right? We haven't had volatility like this in a really long time, right? So for the last little bit, last like 45 trading days, we didn't have a single day that closed up or down 1% on the indexes. So in those scenarios, it's a market environment that is kind of encouraging a survive, not thrive environment. And so I think to a certain extent, just starting your evaluation there probably slowed you down just a little bit. Like markets just weren't cooperating to give us that follow through like we got here today. Now that we're maybe a little bit back to sort of a more volatile market, it probably opens up a bit more of like the taps, right? We can expect to get a little bit more follow through. We can expect to get maybe a few little bigger wins here and there. And so we're not necessarily targeting those 1R trades, or we're not getting a lot of like those 1R wins where we're taking like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're able to build up a little bit more separation, hopefully, in these types of conditions. And hopefully that'll speed up, right, any sort of enthusiasm towards trading well. So again, I wouldn't press it. I would keep trading the way that you're doing, because like you mentioned, surviving and building up that buffer is going to pay out really, really well once you get that space created. So emphasize and focus on creating those good habits here initially, and then you'll go from there, right? Like I think probably one of the big things that I see people do that kind of punishes them a little bit, right, is they expect themselves to be perfect right away instead of expecting themselves to get better and better. So right now you're on the right path. You're expecting yourself to get better. You're expecting yourself to improve, and you're seeing those gains as market dynamics change and as conditions change, and hopefully as we get a little bit of a more consistent kind of volatile market. And that's where you're going to start to see that separation, and you're going to start to see those good habits really compound and allow you to take advantage of big moves. You know, if the market is volatile, but we're not like the master of our own domain, then we're not going to catch those big moves. We're going to panic close, or we're going to, close as our P&L is decreasing, and we're not going to take advantage of that volatility anyway. So how you guys are all trading, for me, for sure, the right way to do it, because you're building those good habits and you're rewarding it. And then once conditions change and dynamics reward big follow through, now you're going to be positioned to take advantage of those moves psychologically from start to finish. And ultimately, that's where you make the really big money. So in trading, a lot of it is so much like reminding yourself that you want to be the tortoise, not the hare. And what generally feels best for our accounts in the moment is rarely what's best for our account long terms. And the more that we can delay that gratification, the bigger the paycheck is at the end of that struggle. Yeah, and you're not like, I'll be honest, guys, no one is one trade away. So James, you made a great comment. You've definitely learned to build up that buffer first, take those gains, stack wins, right? And then continue to build. You don't need to pull too much too quick. You're not going to get rich risking it all today, right? And I think that that's exactly it. None of us here are one trade away or one payout away from being rich. Like, it's not like it's like a light switch moment or like the light just goes on or off. So it's about being consistent, right? And turning this into something that when compounded, it becomes pretty tremendous. Like a 20K month is awesome, but 10, 20K months is where you start to have your life changed, right? So it's the consistency of stacking things up that really creates that freedom long term. Yeah, 100% Patrick, right? Being being in control and having that buffer and maintaining that mental capital allows us to be rational and logical relative to how we would be otherwise, right? So like on that first trade I took here today, maybe one I maybe shouldn't have taken. Like in hindsight, maybe the pullback here, like I'm replaying it a little bit in my head, like the pullback maybe a little bit too aggressive. But I bought a discount, right? I was risking $395 with 3 contracts and small risk. Like that's a pretty controlled decision. Like it's probably going to work out if I just played those numbers. My average win, like today, my loss here today was 400 bucks, we'll call it. My win here today was 1770. That's 4 times bigger than the average loss I had. I can make those numbers easier by forcing myself to buy a pullback, right? The deeper pullback I purchase without increasing my position sizing, easier it is for me to skew that ratio in my favor and to like create a multitudes of R, right? So like on that trade here on NQ, I was risking, let's say, 5 points. Pretty easy for me to get a 3 times risk return when that move only needs to be 15 points. So I create, or I'm trying to create basically ratios in my favor, right? I'm trying to create scenarios where price action will line up and it'll create that asymmetric upside for me. And hopefully I can take advantage of those opportunities when they do. And that's really all it is, right? It's about losing in control so that basically that numbers game can play out, because the numbers game only plays out if those losses are small, right? The ability to get that 3R or 5R or 10R win evaporates if I have $1,000 loss. The size move or the amount of pressure I would need to put on myself to catch that type of follow through would be next to impossible to achieve that consistently. But to pull 15 points out of NQ or to pull 30 points out of NQ, we should be able to do that with a lot of consistency. Now, there's a little part of me that's now feeling like, why did I sell? That I hate is what it is. All right. Any other questions here, team? Any other questions? Hey, no worries, James. Any other questions here, team? I'm gonna walk away here. Go like I said, go have some breakfast. All right, sounds good, team. So have yourselves a great rest of the morning or afternoon. Catch up with a few of you here in our one-on-one calls here later today. But have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk soon.